Hello everybody, my name is Lerato Molife, otherwise better known as Lee, and with me today is Mr. Blessing Bled Chimanga. Hi.
What's up, Lee?
How you doing?
I'm good. You alright? Hey, everybody.
So, how are you?
I'm good, I'm good. Magadi muri Zimbabwe nevese varikona kubva kuma pakati pakasiyana penyika dzose.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you, Bled. Before we start, please make sure to like, subscribe to the Dreams TV, and please make sure to share as well. Okay, so to start off, everyone's waiting, anticipating for Simply Me. And congratulations on your new album. Okay, so word on the street is that Samatenga is coming out very soon.
Yeah.
It's the one that you're releasing first. And may I please know why Samatenga first out of all the songs that are in the album?
Well, thanks, Lee, for hanging out with me today to talk about the journey and the story around the release of Simply Me. I'm also looking forward to the album. I mean, I've heard it a million times, but I'm looking forward to it as well because of what it's carrying. Why Samatenga first? Well, there's a lot of reasons. I'll try and mention a few. Number one, Samatenga is too dear to my heart. It's got a beautiful story to it, and I felt that this is the perfect time to release it. Number two, it's the rightful time. To what's going on in the world right now, what we are coming out of, or what we're still in, and where we are going. There's nothing else we can do without Samatenga. So again, I thought that, yeah. And then thirdly, it's just my favorite. And you know when you got the power to choose guitar, which one?
Yeah.
You know, type of thing. So that's the third one that, I just had the power to choose, like that one first.
Okay, so before we proceed, to our non-Shona speakers, fans and viewers, please can you just tell us what Samatenga means and what is it? Okay.
So Samatenga is God. In our vernacular, in Shona, my language, my mother language is God. And Samatenga, when you use the word Samatenga, you're really digging deep. Normally when you say God in Shona, you're saying Mwari. But when you go Samatenga, you're saying the creator of the heavens and the earth. So that's really who I was writing about when we talk about the actual song. So that is what Samatenga means, God, the creator of the heavens and the earth.
Yeah, lovely. And what inspired? What was the process of coming up with this song Samatenga?
Beautiful. I'm going to answer that in two, Lex. The A part is what is the story behind. It's a very long one, and I'm going to try to keep it short. I was flying from Argentina in 2018, coming from a beautiful festival that I was invited there. And just as I was walking into the flight, leaving the place that we were performing, I had a very funny feeling of not getting into the flight. And sometimes you're just wrestling with the mind, you're like, no, let me just go. And I was coming back home for a very, very important function. So I was like, no, this feeling I'm having, I have to ignore it because I'm rushing back for another show back in Zimbabwe. But getting into the flight, still I didn't have peace in my heart. And my normal me is when I get into the flight, I'll sit on my chair and pray and just cover everybody who's in there, including myself. Because anything and everything can happen in a flight. And I did so, and I still didn't have the peace that I normally feel whenever I'm flying. Anyway, we took off. As we were taking off, I need to be honest, I'm one of those guys that normally doesn't listen to the instructions, when those people are saying the seatbelt, it's not being out of pride, but I failed to concentrate at that particular time. But that day I listened very carefully. I watched the lady, what she was doing with the belt, with the everything. I listened, and then we were taking off. I started reading something, it was not making sense to me. Fast forward, a few minutes later, the pilot said we are meeting a storm. So when he said that, I just thought, okay, we're going to go through turbulences and stuff. But this pilot was very honest. He was like, we're meeting a storm and I don't know what to do. There are possibilities that we won't make it. And there are possibilities that maybe I'll be able to reduce the altitude and go under it. But ladies and gentlemen, embrace for anything. So he then said the stuff about the seat belt and about, what's going to happen when there's need for cabin air and that the exits everywhere. And me being me, I also started looking at those things and, where are the exits and stuff like that. But the critical moment for me, Lex, was when the actual thing started. So he actually then said again, we are approaching the storm. I started praying. I remember telling God everything. I confessed my sins and I asked God to give me another chance of life because I felt that it was not yet my time. So I was sitting beside a family that, they were just joining hands and could tell that they're giving their last hope to each other. But I kept on praying and I started actually going louder and louder. And so the flight attendant came to me and said, "You're making noise and I know you're panicking. It's your first time to fly." I was like, "No, it's not my first time to fly, but I'm fighting for my life here and I'm fighting for everybody's life." And I started praying and I started speaking the blood of Jesus. I started saying everything and all the scriptures that I know, Psalms 91, Psalms 23 and everything. But it became worse and worse, Lex. And they changed the color in the plane. They put this blue. And when they put blue, you're about to go into the red zone. So it means that stand by to exit or whatever. So when then the flight started turning, this is real, guys. It's not a joke. It's a real. It started turning to my right, and that's when I felt that I'm really going. So I switched on my phone, and I started doing a video just saying that, if I don't make it, take care of yourselves. And I was speaking to my family and everybody close to me, saying all these things. But I kept on speaking and praying and asking, and I remember saying in Shona Samatenga, and I started telling God all these things that I'd done and serving and all that stuff. And after about 20 or 30 minutes of all that drama and everybody's screaming, this guy managed to take us back into the same, in the right space, and it became a little stable. But his next thing was like, I don't know where we can stop because the fuel we have and where the nearest airport is, I don't know what we're going to do. And there's traffic of 3 more flights coming the other direction. So again, we're still in a fight of where we're going to land. And again, I kept on praying. The flight attendant came back and told me that it's okay. I remember her trying to give me some stop pains and, just telling me it's fine. But I kept on saying, Samatenga, where are you right now? And it was just a very horrific, crazy moment. Anyway, fast forward, the pilot then said, I remember saying to God, you will make a way where there's no way. I remember quoting everything about Moses breaking the Red Sea. And I said everything. But in the middle of that, I kept on saying Samatenga. And right there, the pilot then said, okay, there's been a domestic airport that has been that we've managed to contact. So we are actually going to be landing in the next 5 minutes. But something in me kept on pushing, in the spirit. I kept on saying, it's not yet done, it's not yet over. And then finally we landed. When we landed, everyone clapped their hands. But as soon as everyone finished clapping their hands, I remember standing and saying, I'm sorry, I'm about to do something that's not allowed, because normally when you land, you're then told to remove your belt. But I removed my belt and I started walking around the flight, thanking God and saying, and I was speaking in Shona. I wasn't speaking in English at that time, because there's a time when you're praying where it's the Shona that you're feeling with Urpa Duzanamwar, and that's how it was for me. And I remember everyone looking at me like, this guy is crazy, but I could remember that it was just Samatenga who had saved me. I get so emotional when I talk about this because it's too deep for me to remember that moment. Anyway, everyone then went out. I'm normally the guy, everyone who travels with me knows that I'm normally the guy that runs to the exit straight away. I want to get out. But I was the last one to go out because I wanted to go to the pilot and just congratulate him, but also to share with him the experience of what this God had done for me. So I did that, and I've got a beautiful picture that I'm sure we're going to show you now of me with the pilot. And one thing I said to the pilot, he said to me that he didn't believe in prayer, but he believes that there's some angel that saved us at that particular time. And I told him it's God, and then we prayed again together. He's still a good friend of mine. We still talk up to today. Wow. Moreover, the war was not yet done. So I get down, and the moment I went outside the plane, I started to hear, Samatenga gani kumuzoro.
Wow.
Woo! I started to hear it. It was so deep. And I took my phone, and in the middle of trying to tell my family what had happened, I was still also trying to record that melody. Anyway, we got there and we were told that we have to wait for 16 hours in a country that I don't remember the name, by the way. I don't remember that country where we stopped. And then we're going to get another flight to take us back to Brazil and then take us back to South Africa. And by then I knew I'd already missed the show that I was supposed to come back in Zimbabwe for. Anyway, we got back into the next flight 16 hours later. And the war was not yet done because the storm had not passed. So just as we were about to take off, the pilot said again, there's a storm that we're going to meet in an hour's time. So we asked everybody to stay on their seats. We're not going to share food, not going to do anything. And I went back again. I'm like, but I got down and I heard you speaking, saying, you're the one who keeps me and all those things. And now I got another war. Anyway, we're right in there. I remember at that point saying, God, I'm letting go. I took again my phone. I don't know why I was doing this. But I took again my phone and I started doing a video. Started telling my family and told them that, my marimba, give it.
Saying your closing remarks.
In my closing remarks, I remember telling Mom, please give my marimba to my Mzukuru Kundi. And, I was telling all these things and I was saying to the band, guys, I wish I would have played with you again one more time and all that stuff. But in that middle of saying that video, that melody of Samatenga was still very strong. And I'm like, why am I celebrating? But the war is not yet over. Anyway, we took off, and when we took off, I was in a panic mode, guys, in the worst panic mode I've ever been, and we actually didn't meet the storm this time round. This pilot went on the 12,000, whatever it's called, and more than not 16 as normal, and that's how we passed through the storm and managed to get back to Zimbabwe. And when I landed back here, driving from the airport, I was numb. I was picked by my sister, I remember very well. And I was numb. That's when the rest of Nainda Kafa and the parts you're gonna hear on the song, that no matter what you do, driving, flying, whatever, walking, you're only kept by God. I got so many stories I can tell you about my own personal deliverance, and that's where, but this is the deepest part of where Samatenga comes from.
Wow, that's very inspiring and deep, and the backstory is something that I'm sure a lot of people can use, and hold on to, and this song can become someone's breakthrough song. So wow. Okay, so we are going to take a break, close this off, and tune in for part 2. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe at Dreams TV. And please, we are so excited for Samatenga. Make sure to listen to it. Make sure to watch it. Thank you. So tune in for part 2.